Hello and welcome along to the Where's My KitBag podcast, episode number 8 of season 2.
Wow.
Exciting. Look at us. We've got so many episodes now. You were joined by the 3 lovely media technicians of the 6th Form College Farnborough with myself, James.
Me, Will.
And I'm Steve.
How are we all?
Very well.
Very good, very good.
Now, we are having to record this a day later than usual.
Apologies.
Which is very unusual due to Parents' Evening.
Oh.
Happy
Happy parents, though.
Happy parents. I didn't speak to a single unhappy parent.
Nice.
I'll take that as a 100% win.
Nice.
I even got some compliments. I was like, oh, this is my time to talk about you guys, but please give me more.
Was it nice? Is this your first parents' evening as a teacher?
No, this is my 3rd.
Oh my goodness.
I think I know.
Yeah. What's it like being now you've kind of settled into the teacher role a bit more
being on the other side of the lanyard. It's definitely different. Because it's like the first parents' evening I did, I genuinely didn't know if I was saying the right things. Like I was always like constantly looking over at Rach or Jane, like, am I saying the right things? I don't know. Because they don't give you training for a parents' evening. It's not something you can like be taught, as it were. When I obviously did like my teacher training stuff, there's no like, oh yes, this is the parents' evening lesson. How
does it go? Is it like your general overview and then they kind of quick fire questions at you, sort of thing?
Yeah, pretty. I normally try and do like let's start off with something good, then say something slightly less good, and then end on something good. So kind of put bad in a good sandwich.
I see.
So you kind of like, hype them up, drop them a bit, and then bring them back.
Like a full 3-act structure.
Yes, exactly.
Nice.
And yeah, it's very bizarre actually, because you genuinely don't know what the parents are going to come out with, because some of them like are really engaged with their kids, some of them are like, I don't know what he does. So you get a real mix of people. Some who are like really like well involved and are like, oh yeah, I really want my son or daughter to do really well. But then at other times they're a bit sort of more laid back and like, all I hear is this kid's like on their phone all the time, and it's just kind of like then you're having to put out like, well, not like put out fires, but kind of explain like, yes, we've got a code of conduct system. Yes, they've met their deadlines, but they're a bit of a bum in class. So yeah, it's really weird. The first, I think after I did the first one and got that out of the way, I think the rest have been I've been progressively getting better.
Nice.
I think it's a good way to look at it.
That's good to hear.
And it's nice having a first year group, but it's also bizarre having a first year group because they just don't shut up. If you're listening, my class, shush. Thank you. There you go. That's my.
What a lovely shout out to your class.
I love them though. I've told them I love them, but please just shut up sometimes. It would be nice. But yeah, there you go. There's a summary of parents' evening. But no, thankfully, I was very thankful that all of them put their appointments one after the other. I was like, yes. There wasn't like an hour gap till one person is booked like 7:30. Yeah, so I was very thankful about that, so thank you. If you're listening, bit bizarre, but cool. Hi.
Shall we jump ahead?
Yes.
Whoa. Before we jump ahead,
Whoa.
for those who listened last week,
yes,
all I'll say is you'll know what's coming. I've actually done some prep work for
you're going to ask us about meal deals? He's got news. He's ready to roll. Hang on.
Roll that bloody music, mate.
Are you ready?
Can you say bloody on a podcast?
We have now.
Well, we might edit that out later.
That's the title, mate.
Breaking news. Oh, you interrupted me.
I was going to intro you in.
What are you doing?
I was going to intro
Roll it again. Roll it again. No, it didn't happen. We're not going to cut this out. We're just going to go again.
I was going to intro you out. You in and be like, now with the new Steve Kale.
Quiet in the studio.
Okay. Are you going to do it this time?
Yes. Okay. I'm going to intro you in. And they're like, Steve Kale news.
That actually works for my last line, so let's do that.
Fab. Right, let's do it. Right. So I intro you.
Yeah, and then I'll crack on.
Cool. And now with the Techno News, it's Steve Kale. Steve.
Breaking news. Film Club finally confirmed date and time and will screen Del Toro's The Devil's Backbone in the Simon Jarvis Theatre on December 2nd at 4:30 p.m. Senior Curriculum Manager Dan McGrath said, quote, "This screening will be a great opener to gauge numbers. Us here at the Department News, we are itching to see the results of Film Club. Be there and stay tuned for more. More breaking news. The newsletter now has coloured themes, with the last week's newsletter featuring the red tricycle from Dr. Sleep, the next chapter in The Shining's narrative. On its header, some might have noticed a red theme on last week's newsletter. After speaking closely with the editing team over at TechNet News, we've been given exclusive information that this theme will continue, with Midway's poster having a teal colourway, which will feature on this week's newsletter. Those are just a couple of stories here on the department section. I'm news anchor technician Steve. Stay classy, Beacon Building. Until next week, back to you, Bale.
Mate, that was
smashed it.
I stuttered at the start, but I
He
nailed
smashed
that.
it. I mean, that's got to be a thing.
Absolute.
That's got to be a
quality.
thing.
And
That is.
there you go. That's the script ripped up there.
Oh, never mind. News anchor Steve's done.
I stuttered at the start, which kind of messed with my feng shui. Amazing. That was fun. I actually
was
felt
great.
nervous at the beginning of that.
Oh, mate.
I was like, I need to smash this.
I should have given you a cheeky wink before
That,
I did it.
nice.
that
Would've
ending
won,
was
take one
incredible. The sign off as perfect.
Stay classy, Beacon Building.
God, I think you've just blown our other segments to smithereens.
Oh, you guys have to put a voice on now.
Oh my days.
No,
I was gonna try-
can't manage it.
Welcome to the music section. Hello, yes. Good day.
Welcome to Tech News. Is there any other things we need to talk about? Or is that news done?
I would have covered it. Would have
Done.
been
I
more
love
news.
that. That was breaking news, but I got it all. I understood it all. Brilliant.
But it is December 2nd, not September. Don't know where that came from.
Yeah, don't
For
take
the
us
film
back in
club.
time.
No.
We're close to Christmas now.
I mean, it could be September
2020.
next year.
Yes. No.
Yeah.
December 2nd, Film Club will come back.
Damn, that is a clean department.
Well done,
news.
Steve.
Thanks.
That is 10 out. I've got nothing else to add.
Onwards.
Right, from one news to another. Let's hear about some technology with Will.
Yes, well, we've got some cool and exciting stuff on tech news this week. The first one is a big throwback. So Motorola have just held their own little press event, and they've announced a new Razr phone. So I don't know if anybody may have owned one, used one.
I did.
Who's listening? Maybe not us. I had the Motorola K1 back in the day. That was indestructible.
I had the original Motorola Razr, and it still works.
That is amazing. Well, this was in secondary school. And you weren't really allowed phones kind of out and stuff. So I had a zip pocket on the top of my backpack. And my friend Ben, who came up behind me, he knew where my phone was, unzipped it, took it out. And for some reason, I don't know if maybe he was trying to pretend, he threw it over my shoulder, down some stairs. And it just,
What?
it kind of, the like screen of it kind of disintegrated into pieces. But because it's a flip phone, flipped open, still worked. So I was like, lovely.
Wow.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah. Didn't never really forgave him for that. Ben, if you're listening, yeah, you still owe me a new Motorola, so maybe this could be the one. Right, so
I'm cashing in my debt.
yeah. Right, why are we talking about Motorola? So a lot of like folding screen talks going on at the moment. Well, what they've done is rather than screens folding outwards and going bigger, they're kind of taking your standard smartphone size and you fold the screen inwards, so it gets smaller, half the size is kind of what they're going for. And funny enough, the thickness of this phone is actually the same as the original Motorola Razr as well,
Which is ridiculous.
which is close,
I
which is
think.
pretty cool. When you flip open the screen, it's completely flat and different to the Samsung Fold. There's no like weird crease in the middle, like a little bump where the screen kind
Looks
of middle is. It's quite pricey though, £1,500.
Ooh.
Yeah.
But apparently
that's
it
a
doesn't.
high debt.
Apparently from, I think it's MKBHD, he said that it's not got the top end power that you
It
could
hasn't.
ask for.
It hasn't. It's got quite a mediocre. It's like a processor from last year. It hasn't really got the top specs. The camera, from what I've heard, is a bit. But interesting enough, obviously having like a clamshell, a flip phone, the camera on the back can also be the camera on the front. So that might be interesting to a few people.
I like that.
Yeah.
I think that'll be alright.
Moving onwards, Apple have just announced a new MacBook Pro 16-inch. This is going to be replacing their 15-inch model. It's pretty specced out. They didn't increase the price, so they got rid of the 15-inch and they brought the 16-inch, which is, from what I've kind of heard, on average, it's about sort of like a third better, a half, almost like double better.
A third better.
Yeah,
33% more performance.
Yes.
Hmm.
But it's the exact same price. In terms of spec, you can put an 8GB graphics card on it now. You can put 64 gigs of RAM on it. And you can also take it up to an 8TB SSD and a little MacBook.
An 8 terabyte SSD.
Pretty cool, isn't it? I think the max spec. I
Damn.
looked on their website. If you tick all the boxes, about 6K. So that's quite expensive for a MacBook.
Ooh.
The base price is $2,300. But any creatives out there looking for stuff, that's an option. Me and Steve have been looking at this Asus Pro Duo, was it?
ZenBook Pro Duo.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I've
Have a
heard
look.
of it.
Yeah,
Is that
I
the
think
one that can flip back on itself?
No, we spoke about it before on the pod, but it's basically got one main screen, and then where the keyboard is normally, that's kind of dropped down a bit, and they've actually managed to fit in another panel, another screen there.
Oh, I've seen Linus Tech Tips
Yes.
talk about this.
Yeah,
Look quite interesting.
very cool. Gives you a lot more real estate, but we can talk a bit more about that at a later date. Now, this one I just saw pop up was pretty amazing. So I'm sure everybody's heard the term influencers, social media influencers. The average price of a sponsored photo on Instagram has jumped from £104 in 2014 to £1,276 in 2019.
For a photo.
That is per post.
Whoa.
Yeah, per post that is.
So, as in a sponsor photo, as in a company has
So-
paid you
so a
to have their product in your photo.
Yes, I believe this is for people ranging between 500,000 to 2 million
Subs.
followers
So
on
not
Instagram.
Me.
Damn.
Maybe in a year or two, Bale. We'll see. We'll get back to that. But yeah, like you might be promoting, I don't know, like a new computer, a new phone, or some clothing. Every post they'll be looking at that sort of income from
That's
that.
crazy.
And if you're posting, I don't know, 2 times a day, that it could be quite. Obviously, that they have to kind of balance it with content that their followers want to see and sponsored content. But as an income, that's not bad, is it, for one photo? £1,200.
Especially when they can keep the product most of the time.
Yeah.
If it's a laptop, it's usually that's doubled.
And additionally, YouTubers that are kind of above the 2 million mark, or 1 to 2 million, they can be looking at sort of £6,000 for a sponsored content
Oh my days.
in their videos. A channel like you just mentioned, Linus Tech Tips, they actually have 2 sponsored videos, one at the start and one at the end.
Yes, they do.
So you can imagine that's how they. I think they've
Damn.
got 10 million or something close to that, or maybe more. You can imagine that they must demand quite a pretty penny for sponsored content.
Oof.
So, and it's only going up. It's literally like a curve that just keeps going up and up and up. So I'm sure we'll see in the next couple of years this sort of content increasing in price. Just for companies, they can reach a huge audience, and not only that, it's a targeted audience. Rather than spending it on Facebook, where it kind of just goes out to, they can target a little bit. They have, a prime audience. So I found that really interesting, actually, and we'll see how that grows.
Crikey.
Just to give you an idea, a sponsored post on Instagram back in 2008 was £10.
Wow.
Yeah,
Aw.
yeah, that's how much an influencer back then, which when it wasn't even a term,
my
would
days.
expect to get.
Do you find that YouTube sponsored content irritates you?
For me, oh no, you go first.
Yeah,
Will.
I find it a tricky one. I think how some people handle it. Sometimes I even watch it. Sometimes, but if they've put it at the start of their video, I think they generally have it there so you can skip if you want to, which I enjoy. If it's slap bang in the middle, it does kind of break your narrative, break your flow a little bit. So I think if they just get it out of the way, then they need to make a living. I get it.
Yeah, I'm with
It's
you
cool.
that. I like that. I understand that they have to make some money. I like a few of them the way they incorporate the sponsor into their video. I think Corridor Digital are a pretty good one because they, no matter what they're being sponsored by, they'll incorporate it into whatever video they're doing. They're really selective with it. But I actually really like the YouTuber. Is it Mini Lad, Craig Thompson? His videos, he has like a almost 2-minute segment about a minute into his videos. My only complaint with his is he has them on about 10 videos and they're exactly the same. I kind of hate that.
Oh, like they've copied and pasted the same.
You can tell he's like in a different
advertisement.
shirt. The only other thing I kind of get irritated by, but actually from the sponsor's point of view, is when they put it at the end. So I'm just like, well, you've gone to sponsor, the video's over. I'll just click off straight away. And I'm like, if I'm a sponsor, that would really irritate me.
Oh, I see what you mean.
So it's like, I've paid all this money. I'm a consumer. As soon as like Inside Gaming, perfect example, they always put their ads right at the end. And you know it is because it cuts to Lawrence and it comes up at the bottom saying ad. And obviously they start talking about it. I'm like, well, there's a minute and a half left in this video. Click off. Done. Thanks. What your
Well, it's quite interesting because YouTube tracks all those analytics. You can see your watch time. So
you can see when people log off.
I don't know how
watching.
it works in the marketing world. They might be like, oh, can we watch your retainment numbers? and they look and it's like 1% after
Yeah.
ad.
Yeah.
then maybe they pay less for a video at the end than they do at the beginning.
Possibly.
I don't really know.
It's
how that
interesting
all
old
works.
world, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah, a channel like MKBHD, does he do sponsored content?
Usually it's the product he's reviewing.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
That would, because the kind of video is all about said product, so it's kind of the whole video is about it. So I wonder how that changes the cost. So if you've got someone like Linus Tech Tips or Corridor Digital who focus on one thing right at the beginning or end or middle, and then you've got someone like MKBHD that spends like a good 6-minute video reviewing the Motorola Razr phone, for instance. How does that kind of correlate? Or if it's something like I think the Motorola Razr one, he had to go somewhere to go and watch it. So has he been invited there, or is he just there as a consumer? I
think a couple of years ago they added a button when you upload includes paid content.
Yes.
So they have to tick that if they have been paid any additional thing included, and that also comes up at the start of the video. So that's a nice little touch. But yeah, that wraps up tech news for the week.
Nice. God, it sounds like we're blitzing through this.
Yeah. I think the only other thing to quickly close on is the reason we were talking about the ZenBook Pro is because we put a top spec ZenBook Pro against a MacBook. Sure, I should have inserted this earlier. And the top spec ZenBook is $3,000, well, $299.99. And we found out that if you then put an equivalent £3,000 MacBook based on what you could tick, you're getting a hell of a lot more from the Asus product. So because I was like, I've never had a MacBook, and they seem like really cool bits of kit, but it's just the price is crazy. And so we did a little comparison, and sadly, you are still paying from a spec,
Apple premium.
Yeah, from the spec point of view, a little bit of a premium. But hey, there you go.
You're paying to be a fan of the franchise.
Yeah, which I don't mind, but I was never there from the beginning.
Nor was I.
So.
Still not under a single Apple product. Yes.
Ever?
Nope, never.
Never an iPod?
Nope.
Wow.
I know.
You must be a select few.
I must be. I'm very, very. I've got no Apple tech.
Have you what?
But
you've never had any Apple tech.
I've never owned any Apple tech.
Okay.
No.
Obviously you would have used them in the past.
Yes, I've obviously when our edit suite was Mac way back in the day. I was like, shutter. What's this command key? But yeah, no. Of course I've used Apple tech. I know how to use it. I've just never. It's never appealed to me in any way.
Wow.
Whatsoever.
Fair enough.
I remember having my Creative X-Fire MP3 player. There you go. That's a
Off-brand.
blast from the past. Good old Creative Audio. Oh, that's a blast from the past. But no, talking of music. Hey, segues galore. Let's have a look at what is Tune of the Week this week. So, I was very tempted to put another Coldplay song in, but after Dan looked at me and winced and went, Coldplay, in the office earlier. I know he's secretly a fan. He just can't bear to admit it in front of me.
They're doing quite well in the charts, aren't they?
Yes, they are. I mean, they've got 3 songs out now, and they've got 2 previews of tracks, which are about 30-40 seconds long. So I don't know what they're doing, just kind of trickle releasing bits and bobs of songs. And if you got to piece it together yourself, maybe. Could be a fun challenge. So this week, I've not picked Coldplay. I've picked Tame Impala.
Oh, I do like Tame Impala.
I also like Tame. Their new album coming out February 2020 is sounding pretty toasty. This track is called It Might Be Time. It came out at the back end of October, so still quite fresh. And it's a really nice kind of uplifting electro poppy indie kind of Tame Impala, but more happy, I think is a good way of describing
also
it.
A fan of them.
But yeah, no, so obviously you've got the slightly more sort of downbeat, really mellow Tame Impala. This one starts there, but then really ramps up towards the end, which is what really drew me to it. And I think it's an absolutely great banger. It's a great tune. So yeah, starts out mellow, ends really big on a massive high. Love it. Do recommend.
Lovely.
Give it a gander. So it is Tame Impala, It Might Be Time. There'll be links in the description if you're listening on SoundCloud or on YouTube, or if you're on Apple Podcasts or Spotify Podcasts, you can see it in the description as well, hopefully. Otherwise, we'll have added it to our Spotify playlist, which is Where's My KitBag? ? Playlist. And we'll add it on there. So you can give all the previous tracks of the week a listen. Nice. Nice and easy. Otherwise, the last feature of the day, Film of the Week, or what have we been watching? So, team, what have we been watching?
Will's top of the list this time.
Oh, Will Devereaux.
Hello.
over to you, sir. Will,
Cool.
It's a great one to start, I think.
what have you been watching?
I've got a few more that I've written down there as well, but the main one is I watched it before. I just forgot to put it on the list. Is Living with Yourself on Netflix. That's the Paul Rudd series, and funnily enough, I can see we've kind of all jotted that down there.
Yep.
I haven't finished it. I'm about
okay.
3-4 episodes in.
I finished it yesterday. Well, Monday. What day? No, Tuesday. I finished it on Tuesday. I keep thinking it's Wednesday, so I did finish it a couple of days ago.
I really enjoyed it. I feel like it didn't treat the audience dumb, and I felt like I was fighting to discover more with the narrative in a good way. I really enjoyed kind of like trying to piece things together and work out kind of what situations were happening and the reasons behind them. The whole concept's quite hard to tackle in terms of like reality and kind of grasping that, but I think they tackle it so well, and it's hilarious. There are lots of funny moments, but it does get very real.
Quite quick.
Quite quickly, yeah. Especially the last couple episodes, I think they really shine. The ending, I wasn't too keen on. It does feel very much like here's season 2 coming kind of thing.
Oh.
But yeah, I won't say any more than that.
I'm with you. I think I don't think it's a spoiler at all. I think it focuses very much on Miles, Paul Rudd's character, rather than what it could have been. I mean, this whole season could have been something about the military getting involved and there being this huge kind of thing about this spa, so to speak. But it's not. It's all about an emotional response to what is quite a original idea. You could potentially argue. I love the music. And the graphics as the titles opening credits get more and more what would you call it, dysfunctional. I think the retro new wave kind of weird synth music that plays is really interesting because it's obviously a synthetic person obviously in that weird kind of world, but at the same time I thought it was really 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 strong. I liked the fact that it was a non-linear narrative. So there were times where you were like, well, I was wondering what the other person was doing at the time, and then they come back to that, and I really enjoyed that.
They do, yeah. Actually, that's a really good point. There's times where I feel like they could have quite easily not shown what happened, but then they always sometimes spend like an episode each, don't they? They kind of flips between them, and it's really enjoyable.
It was good just to break down the two different types of character Paul Rudd was playing, which was really good. I don't think I've spoiled anything with what you learned in the first 20 minutes of the first episode. So yeah, definitely go and check it out. It's an easy watch. Obviously, it's an easy watch. I don't think there's any more to say about that. You could probably get it through it in a night. To be fair, it's 8 episodes. So if you really enjoyed it, you could binge it. I watched 2 a day for the last week. But it's good. It's really good. Half an hour episodes. 8 episodes, and as Will said, I think he kind of summed it up quite well. There's always an option for a second season, but I'm satisfied with the ending. Wasn't blown away, wasn't jaw dropped, but it was good. Really enjoyed it.
Also started watching another BBC drama called Paula. It's a 3-episode series, all about an hour long. Not too sure on the narrative after watching the first episode at the moment. It's the idea is there's this teacher who's currently single, and she's having a relationship with a PE teacher there who's married in this and there's a character introduced, and there's one main event that happens in the first episode, which I'm presuming is what's going to carry on, but I don't really know where it's going, but it's been quite highly reviewed, so interested to see where that goes. And I'm finally watching a documentary, one of Steve's favourite, called Last Chance U.
Number 1 on my list, ever.
Based around American...
Ever. It's like best documentary I've ever seen.
It's based around American college football. When Steve first recommended it, didn't really understand the rules, the players, the positions, kind of like the ethos around it. But now I've kind of had a bit of time to settle into it. Watching it now, it's very powerful. And they show just so many different aspects of these people's lives and how it changes through just playing this one sport that brings together so many people. And for some people, it then becomes their career, and they become very successful. And for others, they draw a line, and that's it. You got to go have your backup job ready.
Where can I find this documentary?
On Netflix. There are 4 seasons, I believe.
Yeah.
So
they're
like
split
mini,
into kind
like...
of 2.
Yeah. Two seasons are with East Mississippi Community College, which is arguably the best community college in America, and the other one's with Independence. So I don't know where Independence actually is. I'll admit the second 2 seasons aren't as good, but that's because the first 2 are so powerful. But to kind of echo what Will said, the thing I like about it. So actually, the reason I kind of really enjoyed it so much is, yes, I followed. For those who don't know, I followed American football my entire life. But when I was making documentary at university, a housemate who hates sports, he always shouts "kick a goal" all the time when we watch it. When we used to watch it,
like me.
he loved it. He basically said it's one of the most interesting and beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful character studies he's ever watched. He said it's really gripping, and he said you don't even have to know American football. As Will said, it really enhances the experience if you know what's going on and what's on the line. But at the same time, with the sideline cinematography and the way that they've brought in the radio announcer, it's really really well put together, and not something you would expect out of what could be just a throwaway sports documentary. It's more about it's an observational character study. That's the way I'd probably look at it, and how these people grow and this character development throughout both seasons. Especially Buddy Stevenson, I think his name is, the coach.
Oh yes, Buddy. Yeah.
Buddy. Yeah.
I can't remember.
Very interesting character. I remember him. I haven't watched the first 2 seasons for a long time now, and he is ingrained in my memory. So yeah, check it out. It's amazing. It's like my number 1 documentary I've ever seen.
So
the first 2 seasons.
So you say there's like seasons. So
Yeah.
are there like mini episodes within it, or are they quite like long?
I want to say,
I think about 40 minutes.
yeah, about
Oh,
40
so
minutes. But I want to
40
say it's about
episodes.
8 to 10 each season.
Okay.
But the season is a physical sporting season, or full
like semester, yeah.
yeah, educational year, you could
Oh, I
argue.
get you.
So you follow a different group of guys each year, or gals in a lot of the circumstances with the counsellor, who's really interesting. And then but we stay with 2 seasons. There is actually a 5th and 6th already been announced. I don't know the team, but I'm really excited for
Nice.
a new
sounds
fresh
cool.
start.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and that wraps up kind of what I've been watching.
What would you give Living with Yourself out of 10, Mr. Will?
7.5.
And the Paula, was it the other one?
That was only 1 episode in.
Oh, you're only one episode in.
I'll wait for a
Hold the
later
review.
on that one.
Steve, what would you give Living with Yourself?
I'll give it an 8. Like
Oh,
the only things an 8.
nice.
I'm happy with it. Like there's a couple of things I didn't like too much, but I'm not too bothered.
Seeing as you're talking, Steve, what have you been watching?
So a bit of a curveball.
All right.
So Jade, my girlfriend, she comes down after work. We had dinner, and she just walks in and she goes, "I want to have a hot chocolate and watch a Christmas film." I was like,
It's November.
I didn't mind it. We're a month and a
Alright.
half away. I'm not too bothered. And we ended up watching Nativity, the 2009 film. Both of us had never
How
seen
have
it.
you not seen that?
Oh,
man.
the Martin Freeman
It's
one.
quality.
It's
the
great.
first one is great. And then
We've only seen the first one. Are there more?
there are more.
Okay.
They kind of wane in quality.
Well, I enjoyed the
Is-
first
is
one
all
as
I'd
it's
say. Yeah,
standalone. I wouldn't.
Yeah,
I don't think I'd want to
first-
dabble in.
I think it's the
another one.
first 2 are good. Obviously, I think the first one's better than the second. I'd say avoid the third one.
Oh, is Mr. Poppy in all of them?
Wasn't there a nativity
Yes.
that just
Okay.
came in the cinemas as well?
Oh, don't tell me
Like-
they've done a 4th.
I think there's a 4th.
Oh no!
I loved the premise and how basic and British. Like,
Mr. Poppy.
I think if anybody outside of the UK watched it, they would not find it amusing at all.
No.
But I think it's a perfectly British Christmas film, really relatable. A lot of good jokes in there for both adults and kids. Like, I thought it was great. I was very pleasantly surprised. It was a real good watch. I give it, for a Christmas film, bear in mind it's quite a niche category. Bear in mind, in the category of Christmas films, give it like a 9. Oh, it was great.
Whoa.
Solid.
But
Smashing.
in the grand scheme of films,
Oh.
it's like a 5. But as a Christmas film, it's up there. Okay,
On the Christmas scale.
yeah, on
it's
the
a 9.
Christmas scale, it was good. But on actual proper big legit films, obviously it's very low. But
Am I
I
gonna
don't think
have
that
to-
film falls into that category.
Am I going to have to get a jingle sound effect for Christmas
Yeah,
films?
let's do that. I'm kind of
So
on the
whenever we watch
bandwagon
a
this year.
Christmas film, we're like jingle jingle.
Yeah,
We do
Nice.
need like a Top Gear style tier list.
yeah, I
We
think we
do.
should.
Well, we'll have
There's
to.
an empty wall right in front of us.
I mean, we can fill it.
The
with
Where's My
content.
KitBag film list.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can make it work.
Let's make it work.
Or
The only
show
other thing,
list.
just to quickly close out on,
Yes.
not really big TV film kind of stuff I checked out, but my parents have been binge watching it, so I sat and watched one with them. The Wall, Danny Dyer's The Wall. It's on BBC, I believe. It's a game show.
Oh, is that the one
Bit
that's filmed in like
unorthodox.
Romania or something?
I have no idea. I
think.
don't think you could tell, but the general premise is these two people go in. They win a bit of money for answering a few questions. One of them then gets separated. It goes into something called segregation, and then the other person has to put green balls in. Obviously, the green ball, once it gets to the bottom, it will win them some money. They then have a section of questions, which if they get right, it goes green. If they get it wrong, it goes red. However, the person in segregation answers them but doesn't know if they've got it right or wrong.
Oh,
go with me here.
Okay.
So they could, the one I watched, if it's not really important because it's absolutely loads of them. This person, they won like £11,000 to begin with, which
Not
was
bad.
really good. They went into segregation. The lady absolutely killed it. Got 5 out of the 6 right. He got up to 118,000 going into
my
the last
God.
round. But there's 4 red balls that he had to then drop at the end. Went down to 0. So he was on nothing. That's not the thing. The mad twist about The Wall, which I thought was amazing, is then the lady in segregation then gets given a contract, okay? And she can either sign it and she leaves with the 11,000 that she went into segregation with,
yeah.
or she can rip it up and she can take whatever The Wall had given them. So they walk out, they have to look at each other, and then Danny Dyer, who's, I love him, he's so
Danny
funny,
Dyer,
really
oh,
cracks me up. He's perfect for it because he really has a good vibe to it. She, trusted that he'd done well. He opens the tube, it's ripped up, they go home with nothing.
Oh, brutal.
Oh god, that's brutal.
Oh, it was great. Apparently,
so
it's
if
really
she
good.
chose the 11k,
Yep. Say
And-
hypothetically, yes.
and
He had kept his 118,000.
he would have lost that.
They would go home with £11,000.
At least they still go home with something. Though.
True.
Yeah.
But
That's a
so
gamble,
it's really
that is.
interesting twist. But yeah, I'm not really a game show guy. If ever I was to go on anything, I'd go on Deal or No Deal. No shame there.
Oh yes,
I'd
Deal or
love
No
that,
Deal.
because you
love
can't
it.
get embarrassed. But that's a story for another day.
I can't.
Oh,
I-
I'm getting good vibes from
the amount
box
of-
number 3.
The
Yeah.
amount of faith she put in that to turn away 11k. That's-
Well, I think it went up because I think you get 2,500 for every right question. So I think it went up to like 22,000.
Oh my goodness.
I would not turn that away.
But it was for their wedding, bless them. But yeah, pretty crazy. But that's
TV.
That's TV. I was really bad. I was laughing. I thought it was great. It's great TV. That's why I put it on here. The Wall is a roller coaster of an hour.
Oh,
Well, it's about
man.
40 minutes because obviously, yeah.
Well, there you
But
go.
it's good. Danny Dyer's great. So if you're short of a game show, I think they're all on
Yeah.
iPlayer as well.
Nice.
I really want to know like what it's like to be in the boardroom where they try and come up with these ideas.
Yeah. This one they
'Cause some of
smashed
them are
it.
crazy. There's that there's that one with the coins that drop, isn't there? You got the chase and all this sort of
They're
stuff.
just taking your standard arcade games and making them into like
super giant.
super
TV.
game show. But yeah, that's it from me. Like nothing too special. I'm probably going to segue into James's now because I can see it. But I haven't actually watched The Apprentice this week, so I can't talk about it. But how is it, James?
I came home, so I had parents' evening. I then bombed it to a quiz.
Nice.
I then came back from the quiz, got an hour before bed, gonna watch The Apprentice, ready for the pod tomorrow, i.e. today. And then I walk in the office and go, boys, have you seen The Apprentice? And they're both, no.
No,
I'm like,
I usually do. I usually watch it on the night. I forgot this week. I was watching Nativity.
Oh,
There you go.
I mean, wait, you reviewed something,
Yeah.
so I'll take that as a win. So yeah, Apprentice this week, where it was all about advertising Finland.
Nice.
Again, similar to what we were saying, how do they come up with these ideas? Who thought of, you know what, Finland needs some more advertising. Let's make them advertise Finland. Very interesting tasks. The mighty Biff, aka Tommy, is on absolute top form.
Nice. I'm looking forward to that.
It's you put Biff, you see marketing, you know they're gonna come together at some point. But yeah, there's quite a few awkward moments for Ryan Mark. Watch out for those. It's quite amusing to watch him be like, no.
He's a funny character.
He's so weird.
I enjoy it.
But yeah, the obviously from last week, was it Dan had to be project manager, or is it Darren? I can't remember his name.
It was Dean.
Dean, near enough. A big hand with a D. I got that far. So yes, obviously Dean has to be project manager. Yeah, I'm gonna leave that with you
Nice.
to see how well that went.
Amazing.
So yeah, it's I'd say it's quite a good episode. There's
Good.
a lot of amusement. They do some more market surveying with people on the street, which I always find is quite good. When they always go, yeah, I'm not getting the vibe of what you're talking about at all, and they're like, yeah, great. And then obviously they cut back to them in like the meeting room going, yeah, I had some really constructive feedback. And I'm like, yeah, you're talking absolute rubbish
dear.
now, aren't you? Good episode though. I liked it.
Cool.
I'm in agreement with The Office. I thought the right person went.
Nice.
Yeah. Otherwise, well, I haven't really had much time to watch much else. Obviously, Living With Yourself I've started, but I haven't finished yet. I'm only up to episode 3, maybe 4. And I'm loving it so far, but then I do like Paul Rudd. Otherwise, The Good Place's final season is in full whack. So I had to catch up with that a lot, which was an interesting day of me watching about 4 or 5 episodes in a day to try and catch up.
Nice.
Because they're only releasing one a week.
Yeah.
And I must have missed it for like a month and gone, oh crap, The Good Place. I should watch that.
I do remember you mentioning it.
I love it.
Sort of
I
start
do
the
love The Good
season.
Place. I'm sad to see it going at the end of season 4. But I'm really intrigued how they're gonna, finish off the final thing they're doing, which obviously you can't really say anything because spoilers in case people want to watch it. But no, I'm sad it's going, but I can understand why. And I think it's good they're dropping out early rather than forcing it onwards, like a Smallville or a Scrubs with season 9, which wasn't the best season for Scrubs. But no, on the whole, I love The Good Place, so I'll save my judgment until I've seen the last episode, which I have no idea when that is. It could be this year, could be next year. Do not know.
Perfect.
Otherwise, yeah, I haven't seen anything else.
Nice.
I think that ends a rather nice, compact Where's My KitBag podcast. don't you?
Lovely.
Unless there's anything else anyone else has.
No, I'm good.
No?
Looking forward
I
to
think
next
that is
week. We'll talk about Your Apprentice next Wednesday.
Yes,
Definitely.
we will. And well, actually, no, because we're recording on Wednesday again.
Yes,
so
but we haven't.
yeah.
Me and Will haven't seen it yet.
we can do a full review of The Apprentice.
That's probably what's thrown us, isn't it?
Yeah, because it's on we're recording this on a
course.
Thursday. How bizarre. Anyway, thank you very much for listening to the Where's My KitBag podcast. Tune in next week for obviously our review of the Apprentice episode from this week and all the other usual great features in store. Thank you very much to the team. It's goodbye from me, James.
Bye from me, Will.
And bye from me, Steve.
You've been listening to the Where's My KitBag podcast. And now to our outro man, Steve.
News anchor Steve here. Thank you very much for listening to the Where's My KitBag podcast. Please feel free to drop us a comment about anything you'd like us to cover in the section down below. Or hit us up on Instagram or Twitter at F6 Media Film. To stay classy, Beacon Building.